The harmonization of the Rome Statute's jurisdiction of the crime of aggression has long been on the table. Yet, despite the years of dialogue, the work is far from done. And our work today is to push for the political will that is still needed. Negotiations do remain open, nothing is decided, but everything is at stake. The crime of aggression is not merely an attack on another state's territorial integrity or its political independence. It really is an attack on the very foundation of the international legal order. And more urgently, it is an attack on civilians who we've heard from the speakers preceding me are always the first to pay the price. And of course, we could not forget our soldiers who were often sent to die in unjust and unlawful wars. And so harmonizing the ICC's jurisdiction over this crime is essential because it sends a message. It sends a loud and clear message that no act of aggression will go unpunished wherever and whenever it occurs. And without this signal, the fact is that unlawful war-making risks become a normalized tool of foreign policy. And that is a world that we cannot afford to live in. And so it is time, and in this time rather, when the multilateral order is under pressure, we have to reject selective justice, as my colleague before just referenced. We have to uphold the principle that no red line will be crossed, just as we do not tolerate impunity for genocide, for crimes against humanity, or war crimes. We must not tolerate impunity for the crime of aggression. And this is not a matter for large or powerful states alone. It matters to all of us, and particularly for a small nation like the one I come from. I come from Guyana. And as many of you may know, there's a long-standing territorial dispute with our neighbor Venezuela over the Essequibo region. And why is this important for us? Because Essequibo is 2/3 of our territory, and it is the portion of our territory from which 70% of our GDP is gleaned. And so this is not abstract for us. This is clear and it is present. And this dispute has escalated this year again, raising the real fear of a conflict on our borders. So this is not an academic exercise for us. It is about the immediate safety of our people and the stability and the maintenance and preservation of this part of the world as a zone of peace. So for us especially, when smaller states are threatened, our only refuge is in the international legal order. We do not have an army, we have a small defense force. And so that shield that we depend on must be available. And the current jurisdictional framework as it stands denies us of that protection. Now, Guyana did ratify the Kampala amendments in 2018, but most states have not. And so, God forbid, if aggression were committed against us, the ICC could not act. This is unacceptable. And so we look to this special session with high expectations, and we stand in solidarity with all states, small and large, and especially with those currently enduring the horrors of aggression, including our colleagues from Ukraine and the Democratic Republic of the Congo. I want us to be clear. Harmonizing the court's jurisdiction of the crime of aggression is not a technical matter. It is a moral imperative. And so it really is about preventing human suffering. And it is about upholding the principle that aggression anywhere in the world will not be met with indifference. And so as parliamentarians for global action, we have mobilized our network and we are amplifying our call today. Close the gap. Close the gap. Align the crime of aggression's jurisdictional regime with its three other core international crimes, because this current disparity has tragic consequences. Not in theory, but in real life, as the two speakers preceding me and as my colleague from the Ukraine referenced. And we must get the legal pathway right. The amendments to achieve harmonization should be adopted under 121.5 of the Rome Statute, under Article 121.5 rather, of the Rome Statute, just as the Kampala amendments were. And so Suggestions to proceed under 121.4, which would require 7/8 of all the states parties to ratify, are not only impractical, they're legally unnecessary, really. And so the decisions made in this session will forever shape the future of the international legal order. I want to repeat that. The decisions made in this session will shape the future of the international legal order. And they will determine whether we can truly deliver on the promise of equal justice for all victims in all conflicts. And so I encourage us, let this not be a missed opportunity. Let us act with clarity, let us act with resolve, and let us ensure that future generations never ask us. They never have to ask us where we stood when the stakes were so high and so clear. And so you can count on the continued commitment of the Parliamentarians for Global Action and of the civil society community represented here today. And I want to end by encouraging us that we should together make this harmonization of the ICC's jurisdiction over the crimes of aggression a reality. I know you referenced the lack of consensus, but we add our voices here today and we make a very clarion call that this has to be done. It has to be done now, and time is not on our side with this. And so, ladies and gentlemen, I thank you. Those are my brief remarks.